Welcome back to Where is the Money? Apparently the money is not with the teachers these days. If you haven't been noticing, it's been quite a few layoffs of teachers in different school districts in the last few months.
I'm devastated. This is my dream job. Santa Ana is the lowest income, highest minority population school district in Orange County. We don't need to be cutting services. We need to be increasing services.
In the Santa Ana Unified School District, most students qualify for the assisted lunch program, making cuts even more difficult. But district officials say the biggest factor for the cuts is declining enrollment. Many families have moved out of Santa Ana because it's too pricey. The district said they had to make painful decisions.
Why is it? Well, they blame it on budget issues, low attendance, some political issues, a number of different things going on, but the results are still the same. Hundreds and thousands of teachers, educators laid off. First up is Santa Ana SAUSD.
Big protests in Santa Ana tonight over major staff cuts at Santa Ana Unified School District. Close to 400 teachers and administrators could get laid off. Fox 11's Laura Diaz live with more. Laura.
Yes, Christine, the entire community up in arms. In fact, there were supposed to be 50 people testifying against those cuts tonight. It continues at this hour, but the school district says they're in a very tough spot. They have a staggering shortfall, and that's why they began telling people this week that they're getting laid off.
Due to overhiring during the pandemic, lower attendance in the school, and a deficit in the budget, they had to lay off 387 teachers effective immediately. So we see the news, what they say, we see what some of the feedback is, but let's hear it from the perspective of a few of the teachers that was affected by this.
My name is Ms. Torres, and I am one of the 387 educators at my school district who was laid off last Friday. Every day I walk into my classroom and I have this internal battle with myself over why I should keep going. I have considered leaving education altogether, not because I want to, but because of the lack of respect for educators in the United States. I am not just a number. I am a tenured teacher. I am the history department chair at my school, and my entire department was wiped out. Over the past 4 years, I've been working tirelessly to make our history courses more equitable for the students we serve. I currently teach AP US History and Government and Politics. Next year, I was set to introduce a new course for my department. When I was informing my students that I've been laid off, they shouted in frustration. Many who signed up for my course was only because I was going to be their teacher. I am not just a number. I am a first-generation Mexican-American who became a teacher to educate students like me. When I was in school, the representation was scarce. Just when we finally got it together, these massive layoffs are threatening to erase the progress we've made. I fear for the future of my school. We have worked so hard to create a strong and positive school culture, and losing more than half of our staff will destroy everything we've created.
Now you're going to keep hearing a reoccurring theme here. Deficit, 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 budget. The way it was explained to me is that the reason why they lay off so many people is because they have a deficit. How did they get the deficit? I guess the budget is through the state and the city, through taxes, and it adjusts every year based on the attendance needs and the programs that's offered, is my understanding. So how can you still have a teacher shortage and lay off teachers?
So how are teachers getting laid off if we have a teacher shortage? Let's talk about it. And if you're in a district where staff are getting laid off right now, let us know, and let us know how that's going to impact everyone else. So are class sizes getting bigger? Are you cutting programs? Because sadly, this does seem to be an issue that is happening all across the country. And both things can be true. You could have teachers and staff getting laid off, but also still have a teacher shortage. And I'm going to explain. First of all, there are parts of the country that don't necessarily have a teacher shortage or don't have a shortage in every single job category. More importantly, this comes down to funding. You could need more staff, but not be able to hire them or not be able to keep the staff that you have if you don't have the funding sources for them. And every state does funding a little bit differently, but essentially most public schools are funded by local property taxes and state funding. So if you have restrictions on either of those two categories, or the state is cutting their funding, something like that, then it doesn't matter if your district needs more staff or wants more staff. They can't afford more staff. But then at the same time, there are certain job categories where there just aren't enough applicants. I think special education is a big one, ESL or ML, high school, like really specified, like high school math, high school chemistry. Those are all job categories that it's really hard to find someone in. So you might be in a situation in your district where you have the district laying off elementary teachers because they just can't afford to have that many, but then there are still opening positions in special education or ESL classes. If that sounds like a situation that your district is experiencing, let us know, because you are definitely not alone. And this is why we need to really address school funding issues across the country, both at a local, a state, and a federal level.
Next up, let's head over to New Haven, Connecticut. Been having some layoffs over there as well.
Right now at 5 from New Haven tonight, where school layoffs are looming. The cuts come as New Haven is facing a massive budget gap before the next school year.
And Matt McFarland is your reporter covering New Haven County. He is live tonight from one of the impacted schools. Matt.
No, Aaron and Mark, New Haven superintendent had said, make no mistake, if the Elm City didn't get additional funding from the state, layoffs would happen. And now we're getting word that is the case. This is one of the impacted schools right here, Hill Regional Career High School, the district's biggest magnet school. Well, we're told they're looking at losing 5 teaching positions. Now, according to the district spokesperson, they recently let 12 schools know they anticipate cutting a number of teaching positions as they adjust staffing and programs based on the budget. Now, New Haven Public Schools is currently facing a $23 million budget hole. That's roughly 10% of the district's operating budget. Additional money proposed in state and city budgets would trim that deficit to $14.6 million, but that would still cause some pretty drastic measures, including nearly 130 layoffs and the elimination of 42 positions that are currently vacant. When she made the announcement last month, Superintendent Dr. Madeline Negron said that would likely lead to larger class size, which in turn would put a larger workload on remaining teachers.
What does this say about our society when we cannot keep our teachers employed? It's not that we don't need teachers. It's a whole political, monetary issue going on that prohibits them from actually being paid well for what they do, far as educate our students. Next up, we are over to Reynolds School District.
Why is the district making so many cuts?
Well, Todd and Liz, it comes down to enrollment. The district says it has more teachers than students, and they need to even those numbers out. Hundreds of teachers and dozens more staff members are on the chopping block, including their director of communications, who I spoke with today. Steve Padilla says come June, he is out of a job. About 160 jobs total are set to be cut. Take a look at this. So those jobs include 117 teachers, 34 classified staff members, 4 administrators, and 4 supervisors. Padilla says special education services and services that impact their most vulnerable students are top of mind to protect as they decide which teachers and staff will be cut.
Now, of course, teachers have teachers' unions. They've been fighting against these cuts, fighting on behalf of the educators, fighting in order to keep programs in place that are needed for the community, for the teachers, for the students. It does not seem like those efforts are being heard by the administration doing the budget, because at the end of all of the hearings to determine the budget, the cuts are still in place. So it seems like more of the times for 2025 going into 26, which is a slew of layoffs, has been a reoccurring theme in a lot of different industries. So if you are a teacher, an educator that's been affected by these cuts, I hope all goes well with your next endeavor. If you decide to stay in teaching, I commend you, I appreciate you, but I have a feeling this is not going to be the end of it. Put your comments below. Let's talk about it. This is Where is the Money? Talk to you soon.